तिमिरन्ति ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam thematic series. In the last class, we began with the third chapter, which is answering questions 4, 5, and 6. Question 4 was explain the avatars of the Lord. And within the creation, the avatars which manifest their leelas. Leela anurukto. The Lord is absorbed in the pastimes. So, for the Lord to incarnate in this creation and perform these pastimes, first the creation pastime has to happen. So, the Purush avatars perform this creation pastime. So, the first 5 verses of the third chapter spoke about, in principle, the creation principles with respect to the 3 Purusha avatars, Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu. And now the Leela avatars, Sa eva pratamam deva, begins from verse number 6 and it will go on till verse number 27. Now, we have discussed all these in brief in the last class. Of course, we have covered both the commentaries of both the acharyas. And we had we discussed Krishna and Rama. And there the term Bhagwan was used. And Prabhupada proves that, they are original forms of Godhead, which will be explained later. That is the Paribhasha Sutra 1 to 28. And Lord Krishna is not an incarnation of the Purusha. This is already Jagre Paurusham Rupam has been mentioned. And now we will come to verse 24. Tata kalo sampravrutte sammohaya suradvisham buddho namna anjana sutah kikateshu bhavishyati. Then one Kalyuga starts. Tata kalo sampravritte. Buddha Nama, Buddha, the son of Anjana, Anjana Suta, will appear in the province of Gaya. Kiketeshu Bhavishyati, for bewildering the demons. Sammoyaha Suradvisham. So, up till now, whatever incarnations have manifested have been discussed. But this is Bhavishyanti in the future. In the future, because Vyasdev compiled this 5,000 years back, and Vyasdev himself predicted that in the future the Buddha incarnation will manifest. Let's see, Prabhupada gives a very elaborate commentary on this. Lord Buddha, a powerful incarnation of the personality of Godhead, appeared in the province of Gaya, Bihar, as a son of Anjana, and he preached his own conception of non-violence and deprecated even the animal sacrifices sanctioned in the Vedas. So Buddha is an incarnation who presented or taught principles which were against the Vedas. And although Buddha is the incarnation of the Lord, we don't accept his teachings because the teachings of the Shastra is Vedas. And even if the Lord doesn't accept the Vedas, we don't accept his teachings. And the classic example is there, even in the Govardhan Leela pastime. At that time, when Lord Buddha appeared, the people in general were atheistic and preferred animal flesh to anything else. So, why did Buddha preach, against animal sacrifices, which is sanctioned in the Vedas? Because people were atheistic. And animal sacrifices are mentioned in the Vedas, but it should lead progressive towards dharma, progressive evolution. But they were doing unrestricted animal sacrifices in the name of Vedas, and that is why Buddha had to stop it. And the classic example again in the Bhagavatam is of Maharaj. Who? Anyone who knows? Raise your hands. Which king who was doing unrestricted animal sacrifices in the name of Vedas? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Yes, Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I'm not too sure. Is it Daksha Yagya? I don't know.
Daksha, no animal sacrifice. No. Anyone else? Jagdishwar Prabhuji.
Prachini Barisa.
Yes, Maharaj Prachinabari and Narad Muni preached. So similarly, men preferred animal flesh to anything else. On the plea of Vedic sacrifice, every place was practically turned into a slaughterhouse, and animal killing was indulged in unrestrictedly. Lord Buddha preached non-violence, taking piety on the poor animals. Ahimsa paramo dharma, that was his philosophy. He preached that he did not believe in the tenets of Vedas and stressed the adverse psychological effects incurred by animal killing. So, Buddha's strategy was very clear. When he comes and tells, oh, animal sacrifice, it's not good. Oh, but they will argue that it is mentioned in the Vedas. So I reject that Vedas. And he gave, material argument, you can say, a logical argument, the effects of animal killing. Less intelligent men of the age of Kali who have no faith in God followed his principle. And for the time being, they were trained in moral discipline and non-violence, the preliminary steps for proceeding further on the path of God realization. So, Lord Buddha taught sub-religious principles in order to come to the platform of religion. That was his agenda. He deluded the atheist because such atheists who followed his principles did not believe in God, but they kept their absolute faith in Lord Buddha, who himself was an incarnation of God. So that's how this was the mastermind by which a transcendental trick by which he could slowly get them to real religious principles. Thus, the faithless people were made to believe in God in the form of Lord Buddha. That was the mercy of Lord Buddha. He made the faithless faithful to him. Killing of animals before the advent of Lord Buddha was the most prominent feature in the society. And today, you know what it is. People claim that these were Vedic sacrifices. When the Vedas are not accepted through the authoritative discipline succession, the casual readers of the Veda are misled by the flowery language of that system of knowledge. Yamimam pushpitam vacha pravadante avipashchita. In the Bhagavad Gita, a comment has been made on such foolish scholars as avipashchita. Prabhupada is quoting 2.4243 verse. The foolish scholars of the Vedic literature do not care to receive the transcendental message through the transcendental realized sources of discipline succession are sure to be bewildered. To them, the ritualistic ceremonies are considered to be all in all. Kriya bahulam vishesham, Kriya vishesha bahulam, bhog कामात्मा स्वर्ग परा जन्म कर्म फल प्रदाम kriya vishesha bahulam. That is what 2.43 is mentioning. So for them, kriya vishesha bahulam, and there is no other higher thing than this. That is what they thought. They have no depth of knowledge. According to Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vedeshcha sarver aham eva vedya. The whole system of the Vedas is to lead one gradually to the part of the Supreme Lord. The whole theme of Vedic literature is to know the Supreme Lord, the individual soul, the cosmic situation, and the relation between all these items. So, what is Prabhupada stating uh, in this statement? What kind of sambandh gyan is he speaking? What kind of he's speaking about three principal terminologies in this one statement. What is that? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Anyone knows? The purpose of the Vedas is to know these three things, and Prabhupada stated that. What are they called? What are these terminologies called? The Vedas speak only about three things, and Prabhupada has narrated that. And what are those terminologies called? Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
So, Hare Krishna, bro. Bro, it is to know self, to know the Lord and the material world.
What are these terminologies called in Sanskrit?
Tattvatraya.
Tattvatraya. Again, what are the terminologies of this Tattvatraya?
Jagat, Jagadishwar, and Jagat, Jagadishwar and Jivatma.
Jiva. But more actually it is Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojan. And within Sambandha, the relationship between the Jiva and the Lord, the Jiva and the world, the Lord and the Jiva, the Lord and the world, like that. So all the three. So it is Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojan. So specifically he is speaking about the Tattvatraya also. We need to know the Lord, Bhagavan Sambandha. Who am I? What is this creation? So these are the questions. When the relation is known, the relative function begins, and as well the results of such function, the ultimate goal of life, going back to Godhead, takes place in an easier manner. So here, Prabhupada is speaking about which terminology now among the three? I want others now to answer which terminology among the three we discussed. Yes, Vinita Mataji.
Is it Sambandh, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
think about it more deeply. Prabhupada, we have to have depth of knowledge. Say. Okay, Priya Mataji.
Prayojan, it's a prema for the Lord.
Okay. Birendra Prabhuji, what's your answer? Let us hear him also.
Bro, it's a Avideya process. Avideya.
Pardon?
It's a Avideya, bro. Avideya process.
Abhideya, Abhideya. Okay. Now, all three are partly correct. When the relation is known, Sambandha, the relative functions begins. Abhideya, this is. And as a result of such a function, the ultimate goal of life, going back to Godhead, takes place in a easier manner. This is Prayojan. So in this one statement, Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan is there. So you can see how in-depth is Prabhupada's commentary. Unfortunately, unauthorized scholars of the Vedas become captivated by the purificatory ceremonies only, and natural progress is thereby checked. To such bewildered persons of atheistic propensity, Lord Buddha is the emblem of theism. He therefore, first of all, wanted to check the habit of animal killing. The animal killers are dangerous elements on the path going back to Godhead. There are two types of animal killers. The soul is also sometimes called the animal or the living being. Therefore, both the slaughter of animals and those who have lost their identity of soul are animal killers. Maharaj Parikshit said that only an animal killer cannot relish the transcendental message of the Supreme Lord, Atmaha. Therefore, if people are to be educated on the path to Godhead, they must be taught first and foremost to stop the process of animal killing, as above mentioned. So, Prabhupada is going back to the root and explaining that ultimately, if you want to attain prayojan, you should still, stop animal killing. And there are two levels of animal killing. First is the gross killing of animals, which again, stops our progress on back to Godhead. The second is even in the human form, if we don't hear Krishna Katha, if we don't relish Krishna Katha, it is nonsensical to say that animal killing has nothing to do with spiritual realization. By this dangerous theory, many so-called sannyasis have sprung up by the grace of Kali Yuga who preach animal killing under the garb of Vedas. The subject matter has already been discussed in the conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Maulana Chand Qazi Sahib. Prabhupada is saying. So it is mentioned there. Actually, he argues that, oh, but animal sacrifice is mentioned in the Vedas. And then Mahaprabhu refutes that argument, which is part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The animal sacrifice, as stated in the Vedas, is different from the unrestricted animal killing in a slaughterhouse. Because the Asuras or so-called scholars of Vedic literatures put forward the evidence of animal killing in the Vedas, Lord Buddha superficially denied the authority of the Vedas because these people cannot understand the true import of the Vedas. So that's why I reject the Vedas. This rejection of the Vedas by Lord Buddha was adopted in order to save people from the vice of animal killing, as well as to save the poor animals from the slaughtering process of their big brothers who clamor for universal brotherhood, peace, justice, and equality. There is no justice when there is animal killing. And today, wars, pestilence, diseases, famine, cyclone, global warming, all this is happening because the whole atmosphere is getting polluted because of animal killing. And material nature is going to ruthlessly slaughter, as a karmic reaction. And there is no justice when there is animal killing. Lord Buddha wanted to stop it completely, and therefore his cult of ahimsa was propagated not only in India but also outside the country. Technically, Lord Buddha's philosophy is called atheistic because there is no acceptance of the Supreme Lord, and because that system of philosophy denied the authority of the Vedas. So, in traditional Vedic Indian thought, there was this Shad Darshan, and they are called as Astika. Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purvamamsa, and Uttarmamamsa. They are called Astic because although these philosophies ultimately don't point out to the absolute truth, the cause of all causes, only the Vedanta darshan of Vyas, proves that. But all these darshans are based on the Vedas. They derive their philosophy based on the teachings of the Vedas. But the Nastic are Buddhism, Jainism, and Charvakism. And they are called as Nastic because they don't accept the authority of the Vedas. But that is an act of camouflage by the Lord. The Lord camouflaged means covered himself. Lord Buddha is an incarnation of Godhead. As such, he is the original propounder of Vedic knowledge. He therefore cannot reject Vedic philosophy. But he rejected it outwardly because the Swiradvasha, the demons who are always envious of the devotees of Godhead, try to support cow killing or animal killing from the pages of Vedas. And this is now being done by the modernized sannyasis. Lord Buddha had to reject the authority of Vedas altogether. This is simply technical, and had not been so, he would not have been so accepted as an incarnation of Godhead. Nor would he have been worshipped in the transcendental songs of the poet Jayadev, who is a Vaishnav Acharya. So since it's simply technical, and otherwise, why would we worship Lord Buddha? Keshavadrita, Buddha Sharira. Lord Buddha preached the preliminary principles of Vedas in a manner suitable for the time being, and so also did Shankaracharya to establish the authority of Vedas. So Buddha rejected the authority of Vedas. Shankaracharya, Krishna sent him in order to re-establish the authority of the Vedas. And then slowly there is an evolution of theism happening from Shankaracharya to Ramanacharya to Madhvacharya, and then ultimately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Lord Buddha and Acharya Shankara paved the path of theism, and Vaishnavacharya, specifically Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, led the people on the path towards a realization of going back to Godhead. So there was a complete plan of the Lord in the past 2,500 years, progressively, ultimately to give the highest philosophy. We are glad that people are taking interest in the non-violent movement of Lord Buddha. So see, Prabhupada is very, very systematic. He's saying, oh, it's very good that they are taking interest. But will they take the matter seriously and close the animal slaughters altogether? If not, there is no meaning to the Ahimsa cult. Srimad Bhagavatam was composed just prior to the beginning of the age of Kali, about 5,000 years ago, and Lord Buddha appeared about 2,600 years ago, about 2,500. Therefore, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Buddha is foretold. Such is the authority of this clear scripture. There are many such prophecies, and they are being fulfilled one after another. In fact, there is an entire Bhavishya Puran which speaks everything about the future. They will indicate the positive standing of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is without trace of mistake, illusion, cheating, and imperfection, which are the four flaws of all conditioned souls. The liberated souls are above these flaws, therefore they can see and foretell things which are to take place on distant future dates. Very nice and interesting commentary. Prabhupada is elaborating a lot and making everything clear. Ajani Sutta is another version. Instead of Anjana Sutta, Ajani Sutta. Kikateshu means the area of Gaya. Because in the Mahabharata, the entire region, Hastinapur, and then Anarka, like that, those states are mentioned. Today, the modern names have changed. So Kikateshu is the province of Gaya. Okay, let's go to text 25. I will keep on discussing these verses, and if you feel you have any question, you are free to raise your hand. Let's go to, yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, with respect to Buddha's teaching, there is a verse which says, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad praditam. With respect to this verse, I mean, how do we understand this Buddha's teaching? Is it
But Buddha is not one of the authorities of propagating dharma there. Here, Buddha had to bewilder the atheist, and that's why he came up with this philosophy, and that's why that whole explanation is given why it was done. So he did not give the teachings according to Vedas because they were Suradusham. They were Suradusham, not Suradush, Asuradusham. They were Asuras. So that's why he had to, bewilder them to come to a point where they can accept, dharma, and he had to teach sub-religious principles first to come to religious principles. So there was a great plan of the Lord. That's how we have to understand.
Right.
Text 25. Athaso yuga sandhyayam dhasya prayeshu rajasu janita Vishnu yashasho namna kalir jagatpati. At the junction of the yugas, atha aso yuga sandhyayam, when the kings are almost criminal, dhasyu prayeshu rajasu, and the Lord of the universe Kalki, namna Kalki Jagatpati, will be born as the son of Vishnu Yashas. Janita Vishnu Yashaso. This is Buddha and Kalki Prabhupada. Here is another foretelling of the advent of Kalki, the incarnation of Godhead. Already I heard in Andhra, Kalki has appeared along with his consort and he is giving his mantra. But Kalki is going to appear at the end of Kali Yuga and the Yuga Sandhya. He is to appear at the conjunction of two yugas, namely at the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of Satyuga. The cycle of the 4 yugas, namely Satya, Trita, Dwapar and Kali, rotates like a calendar months. The present age of Kali Yuga lasts 4,32,000 years, out of which we have passed only 5,000 years after the Battle of Kurukshetra and the end of the regime of King Parikshit. So there are 4,27,000 years balance yet to be finished. Therefore, at the end of this period, the incarnation of Kalki will take place as foretold in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So another 4,27,000 years have to pass, and already Kalki has appeared. The name of his father, Vishnu Yasha, a learned Brahmana, and the village Shambhala is also mentioned. As above mentioned, all these foretellings will prove to be factual in the chronological order. That is the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vishnu Chakatar. Kalki will appear from a Brahmana named Vishnu Yashas. That's it. Okay, text 26. Avatara hi asankyayaha hare sattva nidhi dvija yata vidasina kulya sarasasvyo sahasrasha. Unlimited avatars arise. Avatara hi asankhyayeya. Asankhyayeya. From the Lord, Hare, the treasure house of pure goodness. Sattva Nidhi Dvija, just as Yata, thousands of small rivers, Sahasra Kulya, flow from an inexhaustible Avidansya lake, Sarasa. From the lake, there are unlimited rivulets coming out. So you can see here, Krishna is avatari and unlimited Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Leela avatars, unlimitedly manifest. Unlimitedly. Prabhupada. The list of incarnations of the personality of Godhead given herein is not complete. Sud Goswami has only narrated 22. It is only a partial view of all the incarnations. There are so many others such as Sri Hayagriv, Hari, Hamsa, Prishnigarbha, Vibhu, Satyasena, Vaikunta, Sarvabhauma, Vishakshena, Dharmasetu, Sudhama, Yogeshwara, Brahadbanu, and others of the bygone ages. So these are also very famous. Hayagriv is a very famous incarnation. Hamsa is there in the Bhagavatam narrated. Prishnigarbha is the incarnation who gave darshan to Dhruva. So all these are not mentioned. Shripalat Maharaj has said in his prayer, My Lord, you manifest as many incarnations as there are species of life, namely the aquatics, the vegetables, the reptiles, the birds, the beasts, the men, the demigods, etc., just for the maintenance of the faithful and the annihilation of the unfaithful. You advent yourself in a way in accordance with the necessity of different yugas. In Kali Yuga, you have incarnated garbed as a devotee, Channavatar. This incarnation of the Lord in Kali Yuga is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many other places, both in the Bhagavatam and in other scriptures, in which the incarnation of the Lord as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explicitly mentioned. It is explicit. There are many quotations you can give about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Bhagavatam itself, it is there. In the Vedas, it is there. In the Upanishads, it is there. In the other Puranas, there is there. In the Brahma Samhita also, it is stated indirectly that although there are many incarnations of the Lord, such as Rama, Narsimha, Matsya, Kurma, and many others, the Lord himself sometimes incarnates in person. Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not therefore incarnations, but the original source of all incarnations. They are not avatar, they are avatari, they are the source of all avatars. This will be clearly explained in the next sloka. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So the Lord is inexhaustible source of innumerable incarnations which are not always mentioned. But such incarnations are distinguished by specific extraordinary feats which are impossible to be performed by any living being. That is the general test to identify an incarnation of the Lord directly and indirectly empowered. Some incarnations are mentioned above are almost plenary portions. I hope now you have the understanding of what is plenary portions. Amsha, they are amsha. Then plenary portions or plenary portions, then it is. For instance, the Kumaras are empowered with transcendental knowledge, Jnana Shakti. Shri Narad is empowered with devotional service, Bhakti Shakti. Prutu is empowered, the incarnation for executive function, Prajapalana Shakti. The Matsya incarnation is directly a plenary portion. So the innumerable incarnations of the Lord are manifest all over the universe is constantly, without cessation, as water flows constantly from waterfalls. Vishnu Chakatakur. This verse summarizes all the avatars since some like Haigariv and Hamsa were not mentioned in this list. A comparison is made with the treasure house, Sattva Nidhi, or ocean of pure Shuddha Sattva, forms of eternity, knowledge and bliss, because forms cannot be counted. Avidansi means inexhaustible. Normally, we are giving out water, a lake becomes exhausted. This is also materially we see the lake keeps on giving water, then the lake reduces. But this is an inexhaustible lake. It keeps on giving water. So unlimited avatars are manifesting. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Purnat Purnamadachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Unlimited avatars keep on coming. Still, it's complete. Countless avatars arise from the Lord like thousands of small streams, kulya, natural torrents flowing from an inexhaustible lake. Asankyayeha means not countable. However, there is another meaning not well known. Asamyakyata. Some, like the Purusha avatars, are well known. Others are not so well known. Prahlada said, Prabhupada is quoted, Ityam nirtriyak rishi deva jasyavatarer lokan vibhavasi hamsi jagat pratipan dharmam mahapurusha pyasi yuganuvrittam channa kalo yad abhavas triyugo tha sa tvam. In this way, Itam, by appearing in various incarnations as a human being, Nr avatare, an animal, Trik, and a great saint, Rishi, a demigod, Deva, a fish or a tortoise, Jasa, you maintain the whole world, you maintain the worlds, Lokan vibhavasi, kill those who cause disturbance, Hamsi, Jagat pratipan, and protect Dharma in all yugas, Dharma pasi yuganavrittam. Great Lord Mahapurusha, since you will appear covered in Kalyuga, Channa Kalo Yad Abhavas, you are called Triyuga, Triyugo Tha Satam. So Prabhupada has also quoted, paraphrased this. Channa indicates that the avatar is not well known. Okay, text 27. If you have questions, you can always raise your hands. Rishayo Manavo Deva Manuputra Mahajaso Kala Sarve Hares Eva Sa Prajapataye Smrita. All sages, Rishayo, Manus, Manavo, Devas, Deva, powerful humans, Manuputra Mahajaso, sons of Manus, along with Brahma's son, Sa Prajapataye, are also considered Smrita to be vibhutis of the Lord. Kala, Sarve, Hare Riva. Kala, they are vibhutis. Less powerful are called vibhuti and more powerful are called Avesh incarnations. Commentary. Those who are comparatively less powerful are called vibhutis, and those who are comparatively more powerful are called Avesh. Like we saw the Kumara incarnations, they are Avesh. The Jnana Avesh Shakti is there. So in the Vibhuti Yoga of the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, all these devas, are considered the Vibhutis of the Lord because they are comparatively less powerful. The Lord manifests some of his powers in them. Vishwanath Chakravarti, having described the avatars, now the Vibhutis are described. That's what he says. Now we come to this most important verse, which today we will discuss only Prabhupada's commentary, which is quite elaborate. And then tomorrow we will discuss Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary on this. This is a very, very famous verse and it is a very important verse. And this is called as the Paribhashya Sutra of the Bhagavatam. And what is the Paribhashya Sutra? That we will study the definition from Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary. Hold on till. Let's go through verse 28. Ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. All avatars mentioned and not mentioned here, Ete, who are portions of Mahavishnu or empowered jivas. Amsha, Amsha Kala Pumsa. Some are portions of Mahavishnu, that means they are Vishnu Tattvas. Some are jivas having some potent shaktis. We saw that vibhutis. Create happiness in the world. Vridanti Yuge Yuge, whenever it is afflicted by the demons and their ideas. Indriyari Vyakulam Lokam. But Krishna is the ultimate form of Bhagwan. Krishna to Bhagwan. So this is again Vishwanath Chakravarti's translation. Prabhupada. In this particular stanza, Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is distinguished from other incarnations. Krishna's to Bhagwan Swayam. He is counted amongst the avatar incarnations because out of his causeless mercy, the Lord descends from his transcendental abode. So if you remember, the 19th and the 20th incarnation, Krishna is counted as incarnation, but still he is Bhagwan Swayam. But out of his mercy, he is counted like that because he comes like that. Avatar means one who descends. Avatari, avatariti iti avatara. Avatarati means one who descends down. So the avatars descend down in the material realm from the spiritual realm. So they are eternally existing in the spiritual realm. All the incarnations of Lord, including the Lord himself, descend on the different planets of the material world as also in different species of life to fulfill particular missions. So they have a particular mission. Sometimes he comes himself, sometimes his different plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions or his differentiated portions directly or indirectly empowered by him descend on this material world to execute certain specific functions. So Swayam Bhagavan can come sometimes. Sometimes his Vishnu Murtis like Rama, Vara, Matsya, Kurma, or part of plenary portions where particular Shaktis like the Jnana Shakti, Kumara avatars, Narada avatar, or differentiated portions directly or indirectly empowered. So indirectly empowered are all the, sometimes the devas might come in this world and teach, sometimes others. And then there are the Shakti Avesh avatars, the jivas who are endowed with specific functions can come. Original Lord is full of opulence, all prowess, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Shadashwarya Purna, Shadabhaga, opulences. When they are partly manifest through a plenary portions or the parts of plenary portions, it should be noted that certain manifestations of his different powers are required for those particular functions. Now, Kapila is also Bhagavan, and Kapila himself can show his Krishna Swarupa. But when Krishna comes in the form of Kapila, he'll only exhibit particular of the opulences which are required for those functions. So Kapila manifested his Gyan, knowledge, because he gave Sankhya knowledge. So he exhibited only that particular opulence of Bhagwan. Kapila is also Krishna, Krishna is also Kapila. But when he comes as Kapila, he'll exhibit only the Jnana opulence. When in a room small electric bulbs are displayed, it does not mean that the electric powerhouse is limited by the small bulbs. The same powerhouse can supply power to operate large-scale industries, dynamos with greater volts. Similarly, the incarnation of the Lord display limited powers because so much power is needed at that particular time. For example, Lord Parshurama and Lord Nrsimha displayed unusual opulence by killing the disobedient Kshatriyas 21 times and killing the greatly powerful atheistic Hiranyakashipu. So, strength. These incarnations, exhibit strength. Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that even the demigods in other planets would tremble simply by the unfavorable raising of his eyebrows. The demigods in the higher level of material existence many, many times excel the most well-to-do human beings in duration of life, beauty, wealth, paraphernalia, and in all other respects. Still, they were afraid of Hiranyakashipu. Thus, we can simply imagine how powerful Hiranyakashipu was in this material world. But even Hiranyakashipu was cut into small pieces by the nails of Lord Nrsimha, just by his nail, Naka. Just imagine what power Nrsimha had. This means that anyone materially powerful cannot stand the strength of the Lord's nails. Similarly, Jamadagne displayed the Lord's power to kill all the disobedient kings powerfully situated in their respective states. Jamadagni is the Rishi. Jamadagneya is the son of Jamadagni Rishi. The Lord's empowered incarnation Narad and the plenary incarnation Vara. Vara is plenary incarnation. Narad is the empowered incarnation. As well as did the indirectly empowered Lord Buddha create faith in the mass of people. So Buddha is again indirectly empowered. The incarnations of Rama and Dhanvantari displayed his fame, and Balram, Mohini, and Vaman exhibited his beauty. So, beauty among the 6 opulences, beauty was exhibited in these incarnations. Dattatreya, Matsya, Kurma, and Kapila exhibited his transcendental knowledge. Dattatreya gave transcendental knowledge, Matsya saved the Vedas, Kumara gave again knowledge, Kapila knowledge. Nar and Narayanishi exhibited his renunciation. So all the different incarnations of the Lord directly or indirectly manifested different features, but Lord Krishna, the premier Lord, exhibited the complete features of Godhead, and thus it is confirmed that he is the source of all incarnations. So Krishna gave the knowledge of the Gita. Krishna was so renounced that he left the Rasastali, and Krishna exhibited his beauty. All these opulences incomplete. Krishna exhibited his opulence. In Dwarka, Krishna killed the demons, unlimited demons. We all know that. So all these 6 features in full, Krishna exhibited. That's why he is Avatari. And the most extraordinary feature exhibited by Lord Krishna was his internal energetic manifestation of his pastime with the cowherd girls. So that is the Rasalila. His pastimes with the gopis are all display of transcendental existence, bliss and knowledge, although these are manifested apparently as sex love. Prabhupada is very, very, clear. This look like that, but apparently, but it is no, it is displays of transcendental. The specific attraction of his pastimes with the gopis should never be misunderstood. The Bhagavatam relates these pastimes in the 10th canto, that is the Rasa Panchadhyaya. And in order to reach the position to understand the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, the Bhagavatam promotes the student gradually in 9 other cantos. So we should study canto after canto, chapter after chapter, and then enter into that spirit. According to Srila Jiva Goswami's statement, in accordance with the authoritative sources, Lord Sri Krishna is the source of all other incarnations. So Jiva Goswami also proves this in his Sandarbhas. And Vishwanath Chakra Thakur also will prove it. You can see that. It is not that Lord Krishna has any source of incarnation. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigra Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is Anadir Adi and Sarva Karana Karanam he is. All the symptoms of the Supreme Truth in full are present in the presence person of Lord Sri Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord emphatically declares that there is no truth greater than or equal to himself. So where in the Bhagavad Gita does the Lord emphatically declare this? Which verse of the Bhagavad Gita is Prabhupada referring here? Yes, Priya Mataji.
मत्तः परतः नान्यत् किंचित् अस्ति धनंजय मयि सर्वम् इदं प्रोतं सूत्रगणि मनाय.
Excellent. Bhagavad Gita 7.7. In this stanza, the word Swayam in particular mentioned to confirm that Lord Krishna has no other source than himself, Swayam. Although in other places the incarnations are described as Bhagavan because of their specific functions, nowhere are they declared to be the Supreme Personality, Swayam. Swayam has not been mentioned. Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam only comes here. In this stanza, Prabhupada is commenting on Swayam. In this stanza, the word Swayam signifies the supremacy as the Samam Bonam. The Samam Bonam Krishna is one without a second. He himself has expanded himself in various parts, portions, and particles as Swayam Rup, Swayam Prakash, Tad Ekatma, Prabhava, Vaibhava, Vilas, Avatar, Avesh, and Jivas, all provided with innumerable energies just suitable for their respective persons and personalities. So for this statement to understand, I'll have to show you a chart. So just give me half a minute just to open that chart. And I'll not go into the technical discussion about it because it's a very vast topic. But let me present the chart so that you can have a understanding. This is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, very elaborate discussion Mahaprabhu does with Sanatana Goswami in the Sanatana Shiksha. And all this has been very nicely described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And further, Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamrit analyzes and proves there also that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. So let me look for this chart. So, okay, there is yes, I got the chart. Yes, I'm just sharing the screen. So here you can see in this chart, there is Swayam Rup. Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. He is the Gopavesh. Krishna is Gopa in Vrindavan. And from him, this Swayam Rup, there is Prakash, manifestation. And this has divisions of Prabha Prakash and Vaibhav Prakash. Forms with similar features, forms with different emotions. That is different. Again, we'll not go into detail. Like Krishna exhibiting his form in the Raslila, unlimited forms. They have similar features. But different forms are Balram and all. Tad Ekatma means Vilas, pastime, expansions. And Swamsha is personal expansions. Within the Vilas, there is Prabha Vilas, Vaibhav Vilas, fully potent, partially potent. And there are the Adi Chaturvyuha, and then the Dvitiya Chaturvyuha, and then the 24 different forms, the 24 forms in the Vaikuntha planets. And within the Swamsha, there is Purusha avatars, Leela avatars, Guna avatars, Manvantara avatars, Yuga avatars, and the Shakti Avesh avatars also, but they are Avesh Rupa. Avesh Rupa. So that's how we can understand what is being said here in Prabhupada's statement. Learned scholars in transcendental subjects have carefully analyzed the summum born in Krishna to have 64 principal attributes. So this is Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. All the expansions or categories of God possess only some percentage of these attributes. Brahma possesses 50%, Shiva 55%, Narayan 60%, but 64 qualities in full, only Krishna. But Sri Krishna is the possessor of all the attributes, cent percent. And his personal expansions such as Swayam Prakash, Tad Ekatma, up to the categories of avatars or all, Vishnu Tattva possess up to 93% of these transcendental attributes. So 93% is again 60%, 60 qualities out of 64. Lord Shiva, who is neither an avatar or Avesh, nor in between them, possesses almost 84% of the attributes. 84% is again 55 qualities. But the jivas, or the individual living beings in different statuses of life, possess up to a limit of 78% of the attributes. Now 78% is again 50 qualities, again just minute drop, please remember, of the ocean, the jivas who possess. Brahma, these 50 qualities he possesses to very high degree, but still it is again minute drop compared to the ocean of qualities of Krishna. In the conditioned state of material existence, the living being possesses these attributes in very minute quantity, varying in terms of the pious life of the living being. The most perfect of living beings is Brahma, the supreme administrator of one universe. He possesses 78% of the attributes in full. All other demigods have the same attributes in less quantity, whereas human beings possess the attributes in very minute quantity. The standard of perfection for a human being is to develop the attributes up to 78% in whole. The living being can never possess attributes like Shiva, Vishnu, or Lord Krishna. A living being can become godly by developing the 78% transcendental attributes in fullness, but he can never become a god like Shiva, Vishnu, or Krishna. He can become a Brahma in due course. The godly living beings who are all residents of the planets in the spiritual sky are all eternal associates of God in different spiritual planets called Haridham and Mahesh Dham. The abode of Lord Krishna above all spiritual planets is called Krishnalok or Golok Vrindavan, and the perfected living beings, by developing 78% of the above attributes in fullness, can enter the planet of Krishnaloka after leaving the present material body. So that's how Prabhupada explains this verse. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation is quite elaborate, and it will require an entire class to understand it, and that we will take it up tomorrow. So anyone has any questions up till now what we discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Okay, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji, one question. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, there was a mention that the jiva is having 78%, that too also in very minute quantity. And the last sentence it says ki, when the jiva develops 78% quality in full, then
Correct.
he is eligible to go in Krishna Lok.
Yes.
So how?
The idea is, let me explain. The idea is, let's take the example of a human being here. He starts developing these 78 qualities, and the degree is, very minute. And the higher devatas, they have these 78 qualities in higher degree. Brahma, has the 78 qualities to still higher degree. But those who perfect their sadhana and become siddhas, they go to the Vaikuntha planets, they have these 78 qualities in fullness. But again, it is not like, you know, just like Krishna has this quality of daya. And this daya quality is like an ocean. The jiva also has daya. Now, in the here, our daya is very limited. But the daya of the devatas is still more. And those who are in Brahmalok, they also have daya. They see that, oh, they are suffering the miseries of birth, death, and old age and disease. And they feel compassion. It is mentioned in the second canto. But they don't want to come down and preach. But a pure devotee like Prabhupada, he has daya for each and every jiva in this universe, or Prahlad Maharaj. And you see Prahlad Maharaj prayers. So this is the pure, perfected living beings who have daya to the highest degree. But again, that also cannot be compared to the daya of the Lord, what he has. But they have to the highest degree in full perfection. That's how we should understand it. Is it clear?
Right. Thank you, bro. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you for asking that question. Tukaram Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
This Buddha condemned animal killing, but how is that these animals are being killed in Buddhist countries, China and this Southeast country?
Yes, because they are still not ready to accept Buddha's teachings. They're not ready to accept it now. At least during that time, Asura Dusham, Buddha came and they accepted Buddha's teachings and they started following Buddha. And Buddha is because Krishna himself. So in one sense, they're, indirectly following the Lord, and they are ready to come to that platform, ahimsa parama dharma. But now Kali Yuga is advancing and nobody is following Buddha's teachings. So if somebody is following Buddha's teachings, then at least he is following some religious principles and not killing unnecessary animals. But if he's not following that teaching also, then he's more than not a human being. He's a subhuman being. He's almost like a animal, because he's killing other animals for his food. Animals only kill other animals for food. So that's a too degraded situation. And Kali Yuga is advancing, and you can see the effect of it. So the only way, we can stop this is not by spreading Buddhism, but by spreading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's cult. Because if they take up to the chanting, the most heinous of heinous killers, their heart can transform this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and they will develop all these qualities. Ahimsa, automatically this quality they will develop in them. So that is the only hope for us. Okay. Any other questions? Priya Mataji?
Who was that Muni who felt compassion for the ants also later on?
Who was that Muni who felt compassion for the ants?
Yeah, initially he was, and then he got converted, impressed by Narad Muni. I am
That
not
is
very.
Mrigari. Mrigari was half killing animals, and after preaching to Narad, and when he was doing his bhajan, all the necessities were provided, and he saw Narad and Parvat Muni coming. He immediately started running, but he saw that there were ants. When he wanted to offer obeisances with his, chadar, he moved the ants and then offered obeisances. So that was the transformation which happened. So automatically, the religious principle of ahimsa is there. They need not separately cultivate because he has got faith in bhakti. But because these were faithless in the Vedas, they had to keep their faith in Buddha, and slowly that was the gradual evolution required for that jiva at that point, and that's why Buddha gave those teachings. Any other question or clarification? Okay. So we'll stop now. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna.